I promised EJ that I would start off with the book stuff. East Coasters, so difficult. These New York
I
people,
know. I'm
they're
an
so
East Coast
difficult.
part, so I get the the struggle. It's midnight for them now.
But it's New York. Doesn't that when the party starts?
This is a city that
Go.
never sleeps. Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's midnight. I gotta go out for some dinner. I don't know how they. This is my. I obviously
It's
don't know
it's
many East
spot
Coasters.
on. I grew up in New Jersey, and I can tell you that's spot on.
So why don't we start there? Um, Excited to announce that there is a new anthology coming out. All Substackers. Uh, Bird Horror. I don't know how that happened. Weird.
Yeah. Oh,
It's backwards,
so
but it's
good.
blood in the yolk.
It looks so
Um,
pretty.
it's very pretty. John T. Look at that. And we have so my name's listed first, but I didn't have anything to do with that. Just so you know, wasn't me. It wasn't my call.
Sure. Yeah, we'll check the email records for that.
EJ Trask, who you might know. I mean, come on.
Of
Uh,
course, yeah.
Will, for everybody, I know how to pronounce your last name, but for everybody else, how do you pronounce your name?
I mean, it's a pen name. So like I've just been saying it as Boucher because
Ooh,
it makes me
Boucher.
sound fancy. Like Will is my middle name, so like I relate to that. But Boucher just sounds fancy and French.
I love it. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I've been like
Oh,
Boucher, Will Boucher,
the artistic interpretation of it, which is totally valid.
Boucher. All right, I like that. John T is involved here.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
we got Murph, AP Murphy. Look out. William Polly the Third. Mm-hmm. Sounding pretty nice, huh? And Michelle Marsley, right? That's this is a solid book right here.
it's
And it could
great.
be yours for just 19.99. It's not quite out yet. It's gonna come out in when is it? May 13th.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, so you might be thinking, like, well, why wasn't I invited to this thing? Well, this is so old. We've been working on this since August. So it's been a long time. Um, and since then, we've made a lot of friends, and there are certainly other people that could have been involved in this. Uh, but anyways, super stoked with this group. Solid group. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Uh, Will and I were talking about our stories included here, and because the EJ's just joining now, we're 3 minutes in. I would
Hi,
have made it.
EJ.
Anyways, uh, Will and I were talking about our stories earlier, um, and saying that because it happened and we started this in August. Uh, when we read our stories now, it's almost like reading a different author because you're like, oh wait, I wrote this. You sure?
Yeah, it's like you. I don't know. It was like interesting reading it. It was. I don't know. Like I'm a musician, so I felt like it was going back and listening to like an old recording, and then like you can kind of play along with an old recording of yourself, and it was just like interesting to see how I've evolved since then and how I would make different choices if I were able to at this time. Not to say that I think that the story is bad or anything like that, but it's just interesting how quickly things and like proclivities can change because it's I mean since August is quite a long time, but it's not hasn't been a year, but I feel like I would have made so many different decisions in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. Actually, when I read it, it's not even like I don't even think like, oh, I would have written this different. I think for the story I wrote it exactly like how I maybe would write the same story, but I don't know if I would have written the same story. That's the thing. It's like it's almost like a classic horror for me, it's almost mine is like almost like a classic like horror. Even has like elements of like. Do you remember when like Disney tried to do horror, or they tried like way long ago? They were trying to like shake up their image, and they started doing some dark stuff. They did like a version of Something Wicked This Way Comes, and I
I
feel
haven't
like
seen that. No, that sounds.
yeah, I feel like my story has like this like 60s. I mean, it takes place in the 60s, so it's like a 60s ish feel, um, but not. I mean, it's weird, but it's not like weird weird. Like I feel like now I'm a little weirder. I think I got weirder because I've been hanging out with you guys, but
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Like, I don't think I would have done. I think I would have kept the same premise of the story. I don't know. Like, I felt like there were some gaps in it that I would have filled in, like in the plot, maybe some background in the character, in some of the character development. Um, I mean, there's a lot of vagueness to it, which I like. I like leaving kind of giant holes that the reader kind of has to walk around and kind of feels the presence of those holes. But I don't know. I feel like I would have filled some of them in differently, if not completely, if I were to do it now. But I think I was definitely happy with the premise. I'm still interested in the premise, and almost a year out, which I think is a good sign.
um, do you do you approach your stories in the same way as you did back then? Like, do you have like a set process?
No, honestly, no. I mean, like I'm fairly new to writing. I've been doing it for like 2 years now or something. But I haven't really sat down and wanted to like develop like this is how I write type of thing. It's just I'll just be walking or in the shower and like an idea will come. Usually it's just like a little line or a premise or a way a character talks. And then I'll just kind of fuck around with that for, like a few weeks and then just see where that leads. And then when the story feels like it's ready, it just kind of goes out into the world. Um, yeah, what's your process like?
I picture you just like walking around the grocery store and doing some of these voices that you have in your your stories. You're pretty wild.
Yeah.
um,
Basically,
yeah,
or I
my
hear
process.
someone and steal their voice.
Yeah. My process it's kind of the same where I have like a set like writing schedule, but not really a writing not necessarily a process. I feel like what I'm learning is that the way I develop short stories is a lot different than trying to like write a serial or a novel or something like that. I love trying to write long form. I'm terrible at it. I haven't actually succeeded at it yet, but
Same.
but I love it. It's fun like making playlists. Like I like really getting into like the feel of it. So like trying to get into the character. Like I don't do that with short stories. I just kind of, you know, do the whole pantsing thing where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just start off with a line and then, one step after the other. With a novel or a serial, I'm finding like that just doesn't work. I'm like, wait, where am I going with this? And it's not something like where I don't feel like comfortable doing that because then I get like I don't want to be like 100,000 words into a story and then be like, oh, I don't know where the hell I'm going with this, or there's no like
Yeah.
thread or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. I mean, some of my stories I feel like don't really go anywhere, but like if I'm reading it and then the fact that it doesn't go anywhere doesn't necessarily bother me. Like when I have my reader cap on, I'm fine with that and quite frankly enjoy things like that. But yeah, I've been trying to venture into more long form stuff as well, and that is incredibly tricky to do effectively. So I've kind of been working on my chops kind of towards that. So, but it's been fascinating to kind of jump into that pool after doing kind of the short stories for a while.
Yeah. So I feel like I I want to come back to this just real quick because I know that there are some East Coasters here that probably like, oh yeah, come on, talk about the book. But I want to come back to this. But yeah, Blood in the Yolk, May 13th. Myself, Will Boucher, and John T, AP Murphy, William Polyther the third, and Michelle Bardsley. are all going to be in this. Um, I've read all of the stories, and they're so amazing. It starts off with EJ's Ouija bird. I should probably read the titles real quick. That'll get you pumped. Ouija bird. Come on, that
Great
title
title.
alone, you're sold,
Yeah.
right? Um, the palimpsest of Hookwood. Sorry, John T. The Tasteless Death of Lance Green. That's me. A Feathering by A.P. Murphy. Outnumbed by William Polly III. Corvus and Crater by Will Boucher. Ravens by Michelle Bardsley. And then I have an afterwards that was going to be the intro. So I hope it makes sense as an outro. It's not like, hey, I hope you enjoy the stories you're about to read.
I mean, like it's been a while since I've read all the stories. Since as you were saying, this has been kind of in the works since like July or August of last year, simpler times. But I still remember all the stories. Like when I was looking at the list of the titles earlier, I'm like, oh yeah, like I remember these stories, and like it's like they've stayed with me for that long period of time, especially with in the world of Substack where we're just kind of reading all the time. Like sometimes some things can get lost in the brain and kind of fade, but those stories stuck with me, which I'm very excited to kind of read it in my hands in a physical copy when it comes out.
Yeah, super stoked. I have it, so I don't even have to wait. We could just
Yeah, I
jump
know.
on.
Yeah, you're special. Yeah,
Yeah, so that'll be available print, ebook, maybe even from the library. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know how these things work because, you know, people who are much better at these things set them up. So we've been working with Rob Beckstrom from Spare Press, and then also Jay Curtis, who you might know from the Midnight Vault. Oh, look at this guy! He's popping in the chat. Pre-order now! Look at that.
yeah.
That's a publisher right there.
Masterminded this. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, but Jay is just like, I mean, come on. Like he's keeping this place. He's keeping the lights on here. Like he's running this place. So give him a lot of love on the stack. The stack. I just coin that? Eh,
I think
this-
so. Yeah, I've never heard it before. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't. I'm pretty sure that I made that up right now. Um, yeah, super stoked. But going back, long form. How do you like? How do you dig in? Do you outline? Like, what do you do there?
I don't know. Like I am like working on the seeds of like a novel. Like I'm kind of tentative to call it that at this point because I'm not sure if it's gonna like sustain itself like under its own weight. But like I have a general premise, so I'm just kind of writing things that are kind of like satellites around that general premise, and I haven't done like a outline, but it's like, oh well, what if this character did this, or what if this happened? And then I would just write that scene, whether or not it fits in like a chronology of it. So I've just been trying to explore like who are these people in the story, like what is happening, if anything at all happens, and what makes this interesting and kind of worth a reader's time. Especially because I get nervous as I write something longer that I'm wasting the reader's time by just being like verbose and that there's not like an underlining worth to it for the time that they're investing in it. So I've tried to be cognizant of that. But how have you been approaching it? The kind of long form things.
Man, not well.
It's been a
um,
headache.
yeah, no, I mean it's a struggle for me, and I that's why I it's actually helping me appreciate even more the people who are doing these things and doing them like so quickly and so proficiently that I'm like, oh, how do you how do you do that? I want to learn how to do that, and that's why I mean, that's what you have to fail. I think you have to fail a bunch in order to do it.
100%. Yeah.
At least that's how I work. I need to fail a lot before I could, do something. So for me, I've been like, uh, I've tried all different things. I've tried drawing, like storyboarding, like actually drawing sketches. I've tried, I've tried just doing like quick, um, like, okay, here, this scene starts at a club, goes here, goes there, without any even like. a lot of context, just like scenes kind of thing. Like I want a scene here, I want a scene there, with a like a really vague like one line of like, hey, this would be kind of interesting. The serial that I'm working on now all comes back from it came from there was a Macabre Monday like event where we did a live doc dinner party. So you like wrote like live, um, and it was absolute chaos.
Oh God.
And I loved it. It was amazing. It went on a little too long, but it was fun, and it was a great it was an interesting experience. But I developed a character off of that, and after doing this for like several days, I was like, oh, I really got into the character's head a little bit. So I was like, oh, this is I could see this person like being in a graphic novel. And then I started to think about like Buffy and Dollhouse and all that kind of stuff, all that fun stuff. And it's not like horror, but I was like, well, I want to see what would happen if I like try to make a serial out of this. So it's definitely not my normal stuff, but yeah, I'm just really kind of spitting stuff onto the page and seeing what sticks, trying to get like some sort of arc and some, like it always comes. There's always these vague things like, why did this person do this? Like, why did the dad do this? And why did the mom do this? And like, why are they doing these things? And like trying to find the motivations of the.
Yeah.
And then for me, a lot of it is like, sorry, I'm just rambling, but a lot of it is after I start to get um, a solid piece, like with short stories, after I get like a decent amount, then I go back and I connect my kind of my own mind. Like I go back and I um, figure out what I was trying to say. A lot of it is like comes out like subconsciously,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, oh, maybe this deeper meaning is this thing from my childhood, and how do I bring this up? And what about abandonment? And what about like, all of these things? And you start to like make it into something. Um, you start to build the I would plot story like what are all these things, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
you're building the story, so you have like all these like the plot there, all of this action, but then like what's like the real like what's the meaning. You do that so well with your short stories. A ton of style, amazing writing, but
Oh, thank
I think that what sets you apart is like you have that, but then you have another layer, it's a layer deeper, that really, and it got me with Punch Drunk Doug.
you.
That's the
Yeah, that
title,
guy.
right? That that was the first story I read by you where I was like, oh damn, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. Like
I
honestly.
that so much. Yeah. Um, I don't know really where it comes from. Like, but I mean, I share like what you were just exactly what you were saying about long form stuff. Like, I've been trying to make kind of what I've been doing in short stories kind of transfer to more long form things without it being watered down or in a way. So I don't know. I've been trying to approach it from a bunch of different angles. Like right now, I'm not really focusing on if it makes sense or not. Like I've ever since David Lynch died, I've like been on like a kick of just rewatching a lot of his work, and there's just so much stuff that doesn't make sense from a narrative point of view. Like in Blue Velvet, like have you seen Blue Velvet?
Mhm.
Yeah, like when the yellow man is just like standing up and he's just like bleeding out for and there's like no reason really for that at all and it's not explained, but like it feels appropriate. Um so I've just been kind of trying to figure like what kind of makes that kind of stuff. There's like a clear plot and like motivation from a lot of different characters in that film, but there's also like these weird moments that just don't make sense or within the general context or really at all. He's just standing up and he's kind of dead, and then he's like alive for a second, and then he dies again. But so I'm not really. I'm just trying to let my kind of mind go wild, which I think is a lot what like David Lynch would do or kind of spitball. Or I know that he was into like meditation a lot. So I'm just trying not really to focus too much on what the end product's going to be right now, and just seeing what comes out and trying to preserve whatever it is I do in short stories and seeing if I can kind of patch something together that works in the end. Somewhere way down the line. I'm not even trying to think about what it's going to look like because it just scares me. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like the more you think about, it's like the whole, if you look at the mountain, like it's like you're never gonna, it's gonna scare you off. But if you just like take it one step at a time, you're more likely to get it done, right? Just focus on the work, and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, are there any? Do you make like playlists or anything like that? Do you do that?
No, like I can't listen to music when I write. Like it needs to
Yeah.
be. I can be like in a coffee shop or something, but I can't just be like in alone in the room with music and writing. I just prefer kind of absolute silence.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I make the playlists and I listen to them outside of my writing though. Like I was writing this horror novel, very religious, like Southern Baptist, and so I made like a whole Southern Baptist like hymn playlist. And so I listened to that a lot, and now I've actually really brought you here to try to convert you to Christianity. So
Okay,
just
nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So buckle up.
All right,
Um,
I'm here for it. Let's make your argument. Go. But yeah,
lots.
I haven't done that before, like with the playlists. I like that idea though, kind of like immersion. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll steal that from you.
You have to. You must. Um,
I will. I'll steal the Baptist playlist. Send them my way.
okay,
Just
there we go.
yeah,
I mean, you just listen to it for any story that you write, and you're good.
yeah. That's all you need. Just Baptist music.
Baptist music. I mean, it does work on for a lot of different styles of stories. um, yeah. Tell me about for me. I feel like I'm interviewing now. I'm sorry. I'm just like
Oh, we're chilling.
I
It's
hope
all
you
good.
don't mind, but like
It's all
uh,
good.
music. You like studied music, right? Like that's your
I have a PhD in music composition.
there you
Yeah.
go. How does that play into your writing?
Um, I mean, kind of music was my motivation kind of for writing because going through academia, like I did my undergraduate at Berklee College of Music for jazz guitar, and then like did a master's and doctorate in composition, classical composition. But like by the end of all that academia and especially Berklee, it just kind of was like a ringer for like getting it just sucked all the fun out of music as an art form and kind of made it into like a competition. Like Berkeley, for instance, they have a system where they give you a number on a scale of 1 to 8, and that basically defines what classes you can take, and it's right next to your name when they take your attendance in classes. They never tell you what the difference between the numbers are either, so it's like you kind of like become like this number that corresponds to some like vague notion of what the school, how worthy the school thinks you are on your instrument. Um, and that stuck with me for a while. And then like I was doing some things in music, and then it just wasn't really fun anymore. So I just wanted to get into a space where I could kind of create without that baggage. Like, as a musician, like my main instrument was the guitar. If I played like the piano or something, I wouldn't feel self conscious because I don't identify as a pianist. Like I can fuck around and like just be absolutely horrible on the piano, and as opposed to if I was absolutely terrible on the guitar, I would like be like, this is like the worst day of my life. So I kind of felt that same freedom in writing, just sitting down. Like I still don't really identify as like a writer. I'm just like someone who writes. Like I try to keep writing distance. I don't make that same mistake I did with music of tying my self worth to my performance at any given moment, or how like a particular story is. I just try to keep it like a space on its own that I can enter into and just kind of mess around and then share it and then interact with people who also do it. But yeah, like music got me to writing, but then also I think it influenced it in terms of how I phrase sentences and pacing and choose certain sounds. Like I always read what I'm writing out loud constantly. I'm sure my neighbors hate me, but it's always out loud. It's always how it feels on when speaking it, even if sometimes if I sacrifice clarity for sound, that's typically I'll make that decision to kind of go in the direction of sound.
Wow, that's
And
awesome, man.
you have a music background as well, right? So I'm going to pose the same question to you. How does that influence your writing?
Well, yeah, I think music is a heavy influence on me. I my first writing was lyrics. You know, I started writing lyrics when I was 15. I joined a heavy metal band called Cheese. It was really good. You know, you could imagine with a name like that. But one of my best, my first lyric where I was like, oh yeah, I'm a good writer was I had this song called Hate, and it was like, hate so much I hate to hate. I mean, come on,
Shakespeare, right
Shakespeare.
there.
um, but yeah, so like it was lyrics got me into writing. I wrote a lot of lyrics up until my 20s. Then I actually in high school I took a class. It was like reading. It wasn't even. It was like you go into a room and you read. But the teacher was which I didn't read, but the teacher was like, you know, write a poem, and so I wrote this poem, and I was just being a jackass, and I was like, my name is Sean, and I smoke a big bong, and I put this on the, you know, I wrote this and I turned it in, and the next day I came in and the teacher handed it back, and it had like a C on it or something, and it said in red ink, it said, "You're better than this," and I was like, oh shit, and it was like. It kind of hit me. I was like, "Oh man, you know what? I probably am better than this." And
Threw
like,
down the yeah.
yeah, so then I kind of started to take poetry a little bit serious, not serious. Like I started to respect it a little bit more. And in my 20s, I started writing a lot of it, like binders and binders of it, and lyrics, a lot of lyrics. But I didn't start writing stories until much later, like in my 40 or mid 40s, like actually pretty much like I don't know, a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So kinda like you, I just got into writing, um, it was kinda I think I just decided to do it. I was like, "Oh, this looks fun, and I'm gonna do it." It almost seems really silly now how I got into it because it was so just like, "I'm gonna be a writer now." But but it worked out. I've been having a good time, and I feel like I'm a better writer than I am a musician. Um,
I feel that way too.
yeah.
Like I mean, like I'll still like perform. Like I'm in the Seattle area, so like I'll like perform occasionally, but like I don't study as much as I did. So it's been weird, like going back to like listening to jazz or after like not kind of studying like all like the intense theory of it for like a few years and just like kind of feeling that like kind of washing out of me, like being purged of it, and then just seeing how that like so I don't know. I feel like just kind of throwing myself into the field of writing like you were describing that you just kind of like stumbled into it was one of the healthiest things that I could do, and I'm just grateful that I just kind of stumbled into it without any kind of like I'm gonna do this so I can like get accepted to like some magazines and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I like this stuff on my CV about all these are my publications. It's just this is something I do because it's fun, and I get to meet a bunch of cool people and post some stuff and yeah, see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, before I started a Substack, actually I was writing for, you know, maybe 4 months, 4 or 5 months before Substack, and I was submitting stuff to publications, but it would take like 3 months, right? Like to like get a
Yeah.
rejection and you're like, what the hell? Um and so finally, like after all that, I was like, I just want people to read. I don't even like. I don't really care if it's like that good. Like I just want to get it out there because I know that you you just have to write. Like it's like with anything, you just got to do it a lot, and then you get better
Mhm.
and better. It's the consistency. So when I came to Substack, it was so nice. I didn't have any subscribers, but I could post
Same.
it whenever I wanted. Right? You're just like, oh
Yeah.
great, moving on.
On to the next thing. Yeah.
On to the next thing. It felt nice. It was like, okay, I don't have to wait for anybody's permission to post this, you know? Um,
Yeah, that's been refreshing. Like in the background of academia that I come from, like if I like wrote a piece, it would take me like 3 months to write the piece, probably another 3 months to get it performed. So you would have no idea how it sounded. and then like normally like you do give presentations on like the same pieces over and over again. So like you kind of feel that you're always stuck in all this baggage of your previous work that you're kind of carrying with you and just kind of like showing other people. Like they're like kind of like trading cards or something. But like I just like the kind of way that Substack works. It's like I wrote this, I send it out there. Maybe I'll like post it like 3 or 4 times, like in notes or something, the week that it comes out. Then I don't really share it again, and then I just go on to the next thing. And then sometimes like I'll dig something up from the archives, but like I just like that newness and like constant forwardness, not necessarily the end, not necessarily towards the end of getting attention by being frequent, but kind of just practicing your craft and sharing what your growth is and putting it out there and seeing if it resonates in some way.
I think your archive is there's two people whose archive I actually go into and read. I know that sounds like, I hope that people that's not insulting to other people, but there's just a lot of, it's every day you're getting new stuff, right? Like there's so much stuff coming at you. Um, so going into somebody's archive is a kind of a it's kind of a hard thing to do for a lot of people, but there's stories that you have that but although I looked recently and I saw that I actually missed one of your stories. It was what was it called? The gizzard teeth. I
Oh,
missed
that one. I forgot that one existed. Yeah.
I missed that one. I have like I've read, I think, practically everything else, at least short stories. I've read all of that, so I have that one queued up. I'm gonna read that. But also EJ. I could read EJ for days. Like there's
Mhm.
something about EJ's writing that I really enjoy. So
Yeah, I mean, a
um
lot of your stories have stuck with me too. Like, I think about like the Telluride monster all the time. Like, caged, is that what that story's
yeah.
called? Yeah,
It, it's funny, I like
something
wrote
about
that and then I was
yeah.
like, I didn't know that they held a horror festival there every year until after
Oh,
I wrote
really?
it. Yeah. Like random, right?
That
So
just
yeah,
worked out. Yeah.
it just worked out. It was amazing. I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, well, I mean, we're about half an hour in. Do you wanna keep going, or are you, like, gotta
We could
get
go for a few more minutes. Yeah.
okay, sweet. Um, let's see, there was some questions that, some folks had in chat. I lost the notes because 'cause I'm terrible like that. But I think one of them was, uh oh, I think Nick had one that was about, like, dreams. Do you ever, like Nick Winnie, do you ever take from dreams to write stories?
Yeah, like on the rare occasion that I remember a dream, I'll take from it like the voice from Ever Westward, the body character, like that weird kind of childlike voice came to me
Yeah.
like in a dream. It's like a weird mixture of like childlike but kind of also southern, but then it has like some weird academic times as well. Like, so I don't know exactly where that came from, but I just remember waking up one day and like, body, no want to, I'm like, where, like, what the fuck is happening to me? But
Dude, that story, man, blew me away. That thing was insane, like, so good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would be an instance of I don't know where this has come from. I didn't know I was capable of this. It just was kind of a dream type of thing. What about you? Do you ever mind the depths of dreams?
There was a point in my life where I got really into the idea of like mysticism and I started to really focus on dreams and thinking about like and wanting to have significant dreams. And I think that when you like want these things and you think about them, they happen sort of. Like so you'll start to like have very vivid dreams if you really want them. I honestly believe this. Um so for a while there, I was taking a lot of like my lyrics and stuff from dreams. They were very Some of them were kind of frightening, probably why I write horror now, um but lately I don't dream as much, probably because I'm afraid of dreams now.
They become nightmares so
They
easily.
become nightmares so easily, exactly. So I would say uh I don't really take from like dreams, but I do kind of go into that dream state when I write, where I just blank out and kind of write. I don't think it's like I've said this before, I don't think it's like a mystical experience, but I think it's something where we're able to like, you know, get to a different level of our brain or something if we just kind of sit and start going at it and sort of
Yeah.
put the the blinders on or whatever.
Yeah, that's my favorite way to go about it. I mean, just going back to the dream question. I mean, it's not exactly dreams, but like, I mean, what we were talking about before is the rare occasion where something clearly came in like a well-formed dream. But most of the time, I will get a lot of ideas like when I'm sleeping. It won't necessarily be in like a picturesque dream or anything, but I'll wake up and then I'll just like have a line and I'll like rush for my phone to write it down.
Oh
And then
yeah, I do that.
and then 10 minutes later I'm up again. I look in the morning and I'm like, what does this even mean? And then sometimes there'll be like some diamonds in the rough, um, that kind of can totally change the direction of a story, but it wasn't like recalling a dream or, I didn't see anything kind of visually in
Yeah.
a dreamscape, but it was something about that in between space of sleep or consciousness that happens. I guess thinking about it during the waking hours kind of primed me, to kind of come up with those things or have them delivered in some way, and then just kind of capture them on my phone when I can.
Yeah, I mean, mine are when I try to write stuff on my phone in the middle of the night. For one, I have to have my glasses on and some light and stuff, and I don't usually, so I'm just like, hitting
Most
the
of the time, I'm cursing at autocorrect, because
yeah, and
it's
you're cursing that
always
out.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like I have one in my phone. I'm still trying to figure it out. I leave it in there because it's so stupid. It just says Polly Shore. Like, what is that? Polly Shore?
That's everything.
That's everything. I don't know. Maybe it's like supposed to be like the character is like Polly Shore or something. I don't know, but not like the character Polly Shore, like who's, but maybe like a
Maybe they're
comedian whose
sure,
parents run a
sure of
popular
themselves a lot of
club
different
or
ways.
something. I don't know. I should just delete it. I don't know why I keep it there.
Just publish it as a two-word story or something
There
like
you
that.
go. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well, so awesome to hang out with you. Don't delete it.
Like that.
Shayna, you could have it. Okay. It's yours. Polly Shore, make it happen.
But yeah, it was a pleasure to get to kind of meet you face to face, and, it's been a great experience to go live for the first time. So thank you for showing me the ropes. I was a live newbie before.
You just need to get on a call with somebody who rambles a lot, and you don't have to talk as much. You just, I'll just keep going
Just
and
kind of
running
there.
my
Yeah,
mouth. So who's coming on next with one of us? Huh? Huh? Eh? Let's keep these live things going. Let's take over.
John wants, you to show the book again.
Oh, show the book. All right, let's see here. It's
So
going to be
that
a little bit different. These are white
eleven.
pages and they're going to be cream colored, so it's a little different. But yeah, there's I don't really know what to show. There's the back. It's pretty nice. Look at the little birdies. Look at that. And we got the front here.
I just
That's
love the cover. It came out
yeah,
so
it's
good.
so cool. That's right. And my story had a little editing help by S.E. Reed, who's on call. Amazing editor. If you
Oh
need
yeah,
services. Um, yeah, great. Uh, May 13th. Here we go.
made through. It's happening.
It's happening. It's finally happening. It only took
Taking flight. It's getting
a
kicked
year,
out.
but
Yeah,
but you know what? It's going to be worth it, and I'm super stoked. All right,
same.
Will. Uh, Thanks again for joining me this evening.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for stopping by. Especially shout out to the East Coasters.
Yeah.
Get some sleep. Um, but yeah, this has been great. Hope everyone has a great rest of your night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Be
night.
well. Take care.
Bye.